Let's dive in. I'm sure you've had a very busy and productive summer, Superintendent Berger, but we're going to start with questions about school security and safety. It is by far the greatest area of interest for our parents. And the biggest concern among them is the actual safety of their children when they walk inside the school, when they leave them there for the day. Let's start things off. Can you share what safety and security audit of procedures you've done over the summer, changes or adjustments that have been made really in light of Uvalde?
Yes, ma'am. Uvalde was obviously a tragedy that has impacted all of our district, all of our campuses. We were fortunate in 2016, we passed a security bond, so we did a bunch of security updates at that time. We added access controls, security vestibules, increased fencing, camera coverage. We have a great partnership with our Pearland Police Department that supplies our SROs. We are right now during the summer, we are completing the TEA, Governor Abbott pushed out in conjunction with the Texas Safe Schools, the exterior door and interior door audits. And also in that process, just today, we sat down with all of our principals and we discussed the new security measures, the new security protocols. We follow a standard response protocol from I Love You Guys, and we want to make sure that everybody understands what's expected. We have great procedures in place, but we have to make sure that we are vigilant and do not get complacent because, as you stated, education is our job, but we have to make sure that the kids come and go home safe and secure, happy and healthy.
Yeah, I know you're having those conversations and discussions and trainings. Is this something that's happening now at the start of the school year and will continue throughout the school year when it comes to communicating with leadership at the different campuses?
Oh, yes, ma'am, without a doubt. We previously have done the CRAZE training, the alert training with all of our staff. And with all the new staff that's coming on board, we are scheduling with each campus a refresher course, or for the new staff, to let them understand that CRAZE training is important, what to do in cases of a lockdown or a hold or a shelter in place, or heaven forbid, an active situation with the shooter. We want to make sure that our staff is trained so that they can train our students and everyone responds appropriately to make sure everyone is safe. The other thing that we did was we installed remote lockdown buttons in all of our campuses. All of our hallways have them, so anyone can signal danger by pressing that button and alert the campus, which will then send an alert to the SRO officers, central administration, campus administration, so we can respond accordingly.
And again, that's at all of your campuses?
Yes, ma'am, every campus.
Okay, so we talked about staff and the training that they undergo, but a lot of the questions that we got were about armed officers. So how many armed officers do you have in the district? I know you mentioned partnering with Pearland PD, but how many armed officers do you have in the district and how are they assigned or dispatched?
Yes, ma'am. We have 11 SRO officers that we contract with Pearland Police Department. We have a great partnership. Sergeant Beavers, shout out, phenomenal asset for Pearland ISD. And so our officers stationed mostly at our secondary schools, but they tour the feeder patterns. So they go to the middle schools and the elementaries to check in and make sure that everyone is safe, procedures are being followed, and they make themselves known. I mean, they are partners in our schools. They get to know the students, the parents, and the teachers so everyone feels safe and comfortable. And beyond that, we have the entire Pearland Police Department. Anytime there's an issue and a call goes out, they respond. When we talk about Pearland, we're one team and we support each other.
I know you talked about inside the building and having those capabilities to alert and alarm from each and every campus. What does the physical perimeter security look like? Meaning, is there fencing, for example, at your schools in Pearland ISD?
Yes, ma'am. Most of our schools do have fencing. For like our high school is not completely fenced around, and other campuses do not. But with the access control that we have added into our buildings, we know when doors are open. We know when doors are locked, along with the exterior and interior audits that are taking place. That helps with the exterior, making sure that we've hardened the outside of our buildings. We try to make sure that everyone goes into the front of the school where we have the security vestibule. So you step into the building, but you do not have access to any of the hallways or any of the classrooms until you go through our Raptor identification system, and then you are buzzed in with a visitor pass and go to the location where you've been approved to attend.
I want to get back to another parent question now. We have a Pearland parent who asked, How will our schools implement a better plan for active threat emergencies? And I assume here that they're talking about what we saw happen in Uvalde so sadly.
A better plan, we believe, just like the campuses that are around us, we follow the CRAZE model, the alert model. So in making sure we have a better plan, it's really educating everyone on the plan that we have. We are following the standards from the Texas Safety Center, as I said before, and so we want to make sure that all of our staff, all of our substitutes, all of our visitors, all of our students understand our standard response protocol, as well as our standard reunification protocol. So the better plan is to train and drill. We want to make sure that everyone has muscle memory. If something does happen, which we hope it never does, but if it does, we want to make sure that everybody reverts back to the training. And so it's really practicing what we preach, and the better plan is making sure everybody knows the plan, how to implement the plan, and moving forward if something happens, how to make sure everybody's safe and secure.
A couple of quick follow-up questions for you there. You said, practicing that plan, making it muscle memory. How often, and this is really for parents who are new to the school district or they have children who are just entering school, how often do the students and staff go through these active shooter drills and training?
Active shooter drills, those are far and few between. We do them on a yearly basis or a bi-yearly basis, once every other semester. There are required drills that we have to do that are mandated. There are fire drills, shelter-in-place drills, lockdown drills, lockout drills, hold drills, which are responses to active shooters. Because some people, when they say an active shooter drill, they think we're actually bringing someone in with a weapon. We don't do that. We want to make sure that we are practicing safe and secure processes. We do intruder drills. We do that monthly at our campuses. We have a safe and secure department that goes to campuses and tries to infiltrate the school to see if what we say we're doing is what we're doing. If we are using the security vestibules, if the exterior doors are locked and shut, if the protocols are in place. So they try to infiltrate a school and see how far they can get in the school before somebody stops them and goes through the process that we've trained them on.
Very interesting. Are those unannounced, or they schedule it and plan when it happens?
No, ma'am. Those are unannounced. If you schedule them, then they know they're coming.
Right.
So that kind of defeats the purpose. So no, ma'am, they are unannounced. And I don't want to call it, it's kind of a game, but the campuses don't want to be the ones that I have to call them up and say, hey, we did the intruder drill and your campus didn't do very well. So we take it real serious. I mean, if you walk onto one of our campuses, a teacher, a custodian, a cafeteria, maintenance and operations, they all have ID badges. They're all identified. So if you are stranger danger on the campus, somebody's going to stop and talk to you.
Got it. As for the actual school buildings themselves, going back to the infrastructure, are there locks on all classroom doors, and how often are those checked?
Yes, ma'am. Back in the 2016 bond, we put what we call throw locks on all classroom doors, so every teacher or anybody in that classroom can lock the door from the inside. It used to be you had to go on the outside and use a key to lock the door, and that was unsafe because you're going in the hallway. If it's a lockdown drill, if there's somebody happens to be in the hallway that's of a danger, we didn't want to do that. So yes, every classroom has locks that teachers can access, and they are checked now. We check them on a weekly basis. With my cabinet, with my ESC, with any visitors that we have going onto the campus that are district known, we have gone through a training process and information process that when you walk the hallways, check the doors, make sure they're locked, make sure they're closed. It's going to kind of be a new thing for some of our teachers to teach with the door locked because convenience, you have kids that go to the hallway, go to the bathroom, go to the office. Sometimes it's not very convenient to have that door locked, but safety is number one. And so we're going to make sure that we're following that process, that our classroom doors are locked when instruction is going on.
Got it. What about anxiety? All of this talk, all that's happened. Some students are anxious about going back to school, worried that something bad may happen. Is this something the district's taken into consideration, kind of the social, emotional well-being of the student when they come to campus and they're feeling anxious about their own safety and security?
Without a doubt. It goes back to the training. I mean, we train our students. We train our students on the process and the procedures so they know what's going on. We try to empower our students with what they need to do in case the situation happens. But beyond that, It's the culture of a campus that helps a student feel comfortable and safe. If they have someone that they can go to when they feel uncomfortable, either a counselor or a principal or a teacher or a mentor program, we have a great RISE mentor program. But we want to make sure all of our campuses have a culture of safety as well as a culture of accepting. A culture that responds to the student needs, whether social, emotional, or academic. And I think that's a bigger part of making students feel less anxious about coming to school.
Got it. I have another question from a parent who just came in. They asked for Pearland ISD schools such as Rogers Middle School, and they said, which do not have security vestibules. Are there plans to install one? Maybe explain first, Superintendent Berger, what a security vestibule is, if all the campuses have them, and then what are the plans for installation? And once again, it was Rogers Middle School that they...
Yes, ma'am. Rogers Middle School has a security vestibule. Every campus that we have has a security vestibule, and to help explain that, at the front entrance where we direct all traffic, you have student drop off in the morning and bus traffic. And so you may have a front door and a back door that is open that is being monitored to allow students in. Once class starts, the exterior doors are all locked except for the front door. And then when you walk in, there's a security vestibule. Used to be in schools, we would just have the receptionist and they were kind of open and they would greet people as they walked in. Now we have a glass enclosure. We have bullet-resistant glass as well as bullet-resistant film on the interior and exterior windows and doors. And so you greet the receptionist behind this glass. They ask for your ID or your reason for being there. They check you in the Raptor system. And if you are cleared, they give you a visitor's badge and send you to your location. They buzz you in. The doors are locked with access controls, and you cannot access it unless you have an approved Pearland ISD employee badge, or you are buzzed in by the receptionist or person working the front desk.
Got it.
So if that person would like a tour of Rogers, I'd be glad to meet with them. I'm available, open door policy, come up here, and we'll be glad to take you over to Rogers and show you how that works, or at any campus, how that security vestibule works.